I'm Ty, welcome back to the channel. I'm going to show you how to turn this into this using this. Welcome back. I want to welcome you into my tiny workshop. I have a little project going on. A friend of mine has this cool door. I'll show it to you guys. I don't know how old this door is, but as you can see, it has a lot of panels on it. So it used to be a front door. What I'm going to do is I need to make some Dutchmen, and they are wood plugs used to fill in defects in wood. This door is now going to be used as a barn door, and in order to do so I need to cover up the holes on the other side. My friend's going to still use the handle on one side, and I need to plug up the top side with Dutchman so you don't see these holes from the latch plate. So in order to do that, you can make jigs and fixtures. I have a Shaper Origin, and it's a handheld CNC. This is the Shaper Origin. As you can see, it's a handheld CNC router. There's a screen, and on the other side of this body is a camera. And what it does is it can track where it is in space, and it will auto-correct what you're trying to cut. So if you're following the digital line that's on the screen and you're a little off, it doesn't matter. This spindle will autocorrect. I'll demonstrate that with the Dutchman. This workstation here has a bunch of these. They look like dominoes, and it can tell where it is in physical space by just looking at those dominoes. So I'll bring you guys through that process right now. Alright, in order to use my Shaper Origin, I have to affix the piece that I'm going to route out to the base plate. In order to do so, you can use double-sided tape, but an easy method to do is using any type of painter's tape. I'm going to use a frog tape, yellow, because it's easy to peel off, doesn't leave any residue, and CA glue, which is essentially a super glue with an activator. So the activator cures the CA glue in seconds. I'm going to attach painter's tape to the work surface so I don't ruin it. And we can take this out of the way. So I'll do the painter's tape. And this is going to sit here about right there. So what I'll do is I will fix painter's tape to the bottom so I don't get any of the super glue on this piece. And I will take this super glue. I'll apply a line of super glue on each one. I'll take the activator and I'll spray activator on the mating piece, and I'll flip it over and it should set. So now it's affixed. That's not going anywhere. And I'll put this support back in. This helps support the router on the back side. This is essentially what I'm seeing. There's a screen here, an interface. I would like to do a new scan. I have to scan the work area. So I can say start scan, and as you can see, it's scanning all those dominoes and my workpiece. And I can hit the green button or on the screen saying finish. So now it's updating my workspace. So this dot right here is essentially the center of the spindle. So it's able to track where the center of the spindle is going to be. Now I want to go to design, and design is selected, and I want to import my design. I have one for the door latch mortise, I have the door handle mortise. So this is the one that I want. And as you can see, it wants to place my design. And I will just place it, kind of place it right in the center. So now you can actually see the outline of this design. I want to now cut, so let me take the router out and I insert the router bit, just give it a little snug. And lock it in place, plug it in. Right now what I have to do is I have to do a Z-touch because it doesn't know where I placed the router bit. So now the spindle is going to lower and touch the surface, and now it knows where the surface is. And since this is the male side, I need to cut on the outside of this line. So it's already says outside. Let's do an offset. We'll clean it up at the end, but I'll do an offset of 0.01 inches. I'll do an offset of 0.05. Now you can actually see that offset. Now it's going to get noisy. I'm going to turn the router on and the dust collector. Just want to point this out. So this is the area that we routed. Notice the clean straight lines. I'm offset from my finished product. We'll do that at the end so we get nice crisp sidewalls. But as you can see, it auto corrects the whole entire time. So we only go down in increments because we don't want to stretch the router bit out. So we'll go down a little bit further and run it again. So we'll do 1/2 inch this time. Alright, and now the final pass will actually bring it right to that line. So instead of doing a 0.05 offset, we'll have 0. So now you can see that dotted line move. And we'll go at the full depth pass that we had set. So there we go. Let's take a look. Man, that is clean. So just some fuzzies. I didn't go all the way through the thickness of the material because I didn't want to cut into my spoil board. But I will detach this from the spoil board. So one of the ways that I like to detach it from the spoil board is I'll use a painter's tool. It's pretty stiff and it's got a sharp blade on it, so I can get underneath the corner and you can actually pry up on it. And you can see how well that CA glue and painter's tape method worked. So it peels right off, easy peasy. So just like that. So what I'll do with this piece is I'll actually just cut it off, probably with a jigsaw, and then I can use this as the plug. Now I just wanted to demonstrate what the router does if you veer too far off of your line and it can't autocorrect. That little dot is where the center of the spindle is, and if it gets to that outer circle and you go beyond that, it's going to retract the spindle. So I will show that right now. I'll do an air cut. I will pretend I'm cutting right now. It's down to that line, and if I go too far out, it retracts and it aborts the cut. I'll demonstrate that too. You could go in the other direction too. If you're going ridiculously fast, which you shouldn't, because it's just a small router, I guess there is a chance that you could ruin your workpiece, but you shouldn't be traveling that fast to begin with, or else you'll wreck your router bit. So I'll go in, and all of a sudden I go too far off, it retracts. So this is the beauty of the Shaper Origin. So off camera, I made the other plug for the latch plate. You can actually see how good that surface finish is on the side. And I cut the base of it off with a jigsaw so you can see the little flange that's left on it. We'll clean that up after we glue it into the mortise. The first part that we'll do is we'll cut a mortise where these latch plates were, and we will insert the plug and glue it down. So I ended up fixturing this door so it's pretty solid to my workbench, and I have this plywood here with domino tape. This does come in a roll, so you can apply it to whatever work surface you're working on. What I'll do is I'll start a new scan, start scan, and I want to create a grid, new grid, and what I'll do is I'll actually take out the router and I'll flip the bit around and use it like a dowel. So it's going to be a 1/4 inch dowel, and I will lower the router so it's past the work material. There we go. I'll set that depth, and what I'm going to do is use that. It has a 0.25 dowel, so I have that set in there. So I will set that as the first surface. Set that. And I'm not too concerned where this third one is. But as you can see, the grid is actually aligned to the edge of my workpiece. I can zoom out. Let's modify this grid to be 1/16. Import door latch mortise. And I want to be as centered as possible. And that actually looks pretty good right there. Let's just double check. Yeah. Looks like we're covering it all up. We'll go into cut mode, and essentially what we'll do, we'll pocket this out first, and then we'll cut up to the line. So we'll do a manual Z-touch. Okay, that looks like it's on the surface. Set 0 and finish. Oh, it is almost there. Okay, let's see how close we are. We should be very close. Oh, okay, so that fits. That actually fits in there nice, but I'm afraid there's not going to be enough room for glue. I'll take a sliver off. This is the beauty of this machine, is you can just sneak up right on it. Nice fit. So what I'll do is I'll end up putting glue down here on the sides and glue on this piece, and I'll tap it down and clamp it, and then I get to do the same thing on this face. I have the plug cut out. A lot larger, more work, but I will plug that area and this door will be done. So I added glue inside the mortise on the side walls and at the bottom, and I added a little bit of glue to the plug, and I hammered it down, and you still see it's flush, but I'd rather have it proud of the surface than recessed, and I can come back with a hand plane and plane this down and then sand it so it's nice and flush with the door itself. So if you would like to see more videos with the Shaper Origin, let me know in the comments below. So after the glue dried, I was able to flush up these Dutchmen using a good old hand plane. So it's kind of ironic, I'm using something like the Shaper Origin, which is full of technology, to make this, and then I come back with something as old as this to flush them up. But something about using a hand plane, getting nice shavings, for me it's a matter of satisfaction. So just to demonstrate, I just come across and just take really light shavings until I flushed up all those Dutchmen, and it ends up with a really nice surface finish. So I'll bring you in. Nice and flush. You won't see this. This will be on the closet side. I filled this one into long green dowel. Maybe I'll get a video of this after it's installed to show you guys the end result. If you guys enjoyed this content, please click like, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on daily content that Chelsea and I like to do in our daily life.